proceed.
Mr. Chair, we're ready to proceed. The witness is just being ushered into the hall.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Doctor, after the break.
Thank you very much.
You're reminded that you're still under oath.
Doctor, nyungla dalal wat, nyungla fateline wat nga be pare.
In the last session, you have discussed with the Commission
Ti fana binjuge ni waxtan nga ak commission bi.
Your educational background.
Xam-xam bi fanga dore be fam em fim tollu.
Your ranks in the military and your medical practice.
Am ci bunti soldar bi ak ci bunti faj mi.
You also talked about your arrest, detention, and further release.
Wax nañ tamit wax nga tamit biñ la jappé be pare yobula kaso ak biñ la bayé tamit.
And just before the break, we were actually discussing about your encounter with Yaya Jammeh.
Bala ñoo noppaleku bi jeex ni yang doon di wax sa ndaje mi ak Yaya Jammeh.
Where he actually informed you that he could cure HIV/AIDS.
Foofu la waxee ne moom mun na faj HIV/AIDS ba mu wér.
And you went on to tell us how you refused him access to actually administer this cure in the medical facility known as the RVH then.
Nga continuer waxtaanal ñu ni nga demee ba bañ pour moom mu def liggéey boobu ci biir lopitaan bi nekk Banjul mooy lopitaan bu mag bi.
At this point, if you may continue to tell us what happened after that encounter that you had with Yaya Jammeh.
Fu mu nekk nii mun nga continuer bi ngeen daje foofu ba wax ak moom gannaaw loolu yëpp lana mujjee xew.
After the press conference, he told me he was going home and he wanted me to see him off.
Gannaaw bu ñu waxtaanee ak way taskati xibaar yi ba pare nag mu ne dafa ñibbi te dafa bugg ma gunge ko.
We walked
ñu dal di doxandoor.
From my gate
li ko dalee suma
to his
bunta
gate.
lopitaan ba ba ci moom buntaam ba.
That is the accident and emergency gate.
Foofu mooy lopitaan ba place bi ñoo wax accident and emergency ca bunta ba.
To the back gate of the State House.
Ba ca bunti gannaawi State House.
When we got there,
bañ fa àggee.
he wanted me to go in.
Dafa bëggoon nag ma dugga.
I didn't feel good about going in, and I made him know that I had to go home.
Man nag suma xel dalu doon daal pour ma àndaa moom dugga ci laa ko xamal ne daal dama war a ñibbi.
He gave me a lot of money.
Ca la ma may nag xaalis bu bari.
A lot of money.
Xaalis bu bari de.
Do you remember how much it was?
Mun nga fàttali.
I gave out some of the money that he gave me, but by the time I got home, I had $70,000 with me.
Maye naa ci de waaye terewul ba ma eggee kër li ma dese woon bi ma ko compté egg na juróom-ñaar fukki junne dalasi.
Do you know why he felt the need to give you this money?
Xam nga ndax lana tax mu jox la xaalis boobu.
Well, I used to say to him that he was just paying back.
Dama ko daan wax rek ne daf maa fay
Because he
rek.
did that so many times to me.
Ndaxte def na ma ko ay yoon yoon nag.
He will even see me on the road and say, hey, Dave, give me some money.
Léeg-léeg sax daf maa gis ci mbedd rek ne ma am tiyel dal di ma may xaalis.
Doctor, you have told this commission that you actually walked from the A&E gate to his gate at State House, the back door.
Yes.
Wax nga ñu ne dox nga ak moom ci jóge ci bunti A&E ngeen dox ba bunti gannaaw bi State House.
Waaw.
And that he gave you money which was more than the sum of $70,000.
Jox na la xaalis boo xam ne ëpp na juróom-ñaari fukki junne.
Is it correct to say that then Yaya Jammeh used to walk around with a lot of money in his possession?
Mu ngi mel ni daal Yaya Jammeh daf dee dox ak xaalis bu bëri loo xam ne mu ngi ci biir loxoom moom.
Yes.
Waaw.
And then he would just give it out anyhow he feels.
Yes.
Moom daf ko joxe comme ni mu ko bëggee rek.
Waaw.
The whole country saw that.
Loolu moom réew mi yëpp gis nañ ko.
So after that incident where he now goes in, Can you tell this commission what happens next?
Gannaaw loolu yëpp ba ngeen àggee bunti State House ba ngeen tàggoo foofu gannaaw loolu lana xew.
The following week,
bés bu ay ba ca toppa.
I went to work and Chief of Protocol called me and informed me that I was needed at the State House.
Ma dem liggéey Chief of Protocol ooma ne dañ ma soxla State House.
I went and
Ma dem.
It turned out to be the day that he gave his I have been mandated speech.
Mooy bés bi nga xam ne nag ci la joxe kàddu pour wane ne daal lii dañ ko ko santa.
Were you the only person present at State House on that day?
Yow kenn nekkoon ak moom ci State House bés boobu.
No.
Déedéet.
The president was there with some of his cabinet ministers.
Président bi mu ngi fa woon ak ñenn ci ay ministres.
The ambassadors of Taiwan and Cuba.
Ambassador bu Taiwan ak ambassador bu Cuba.
Were present.
ñoom tam ñu ngi fa woon.
And there was this lady, a UNV.
Amoon na ndaw soo xam ne mu fi toogaloon mbootaay xeeti àddina si ñuy ko wax Rose.
Was working with Santa Yala or one of the HIV support groups.
Mu ngi doon liggéey ak Santa Yàlla wala benn daal ci mbootaay ñi nga xam ne ñoo am HIV/AIDS.
He was there and.
Mu ngi fa woon mook.
Can you tell this commission why you were asked to attend that meeting?
Nga wax commission bi lu tax mu oola pour nga teew ci meeting ci ndaje boobu.
Well, the president said it himself.
Waa président bi ci boppam wax na ko.
Because he explained during the meeting.
Ndaxte leeral na ko ca meeting ba ne.
If you see the video.
Soo gisee video bi.
He called out the ambassadors and thanked them for being there, for being very supportive to the government of the Gambia.
Dafa oo ambassadeur yi ne gërëm na leen sant na leen ci liñ jàppale réewi Gambia.
As far as I was concerned, he told me categorically that you're here for one reason.
Man ci suma boppa nag dafa ma ne ma yow mii day lenn rek moo la fi tax a teew.
I'm going to treat these people and you are going to test them and you will see.
Dina faj ñi te yow bu ma leen fajee ba pare yow sa boppa yaa leen a test nga seet leen.
Can you continue to tell the commission in the exact words he referred that you would actually test the patients?
Mun nga wax commission bi ci kàddu yim daaneel moom ñi moo faj noonu su paree yow yaa leen di seetaat.
He told me that he had 9 patients.
Wax na ma ne am na juróom-ñeenti nit yoo xam ne ñu ngi amee feebar bi.
Who were HIV positive.
ñoom ñëpp ñu ngi amee doomi jàngoro HIV.
Who were already receiving treatment in our national AIDS program.
ñoo xam ne ñu ngi faju ci ron programme national AIDS bi.
And that he was going to give them his medicine.
te dina leen jox garabam yi.
And I will test their status. After treatment, they will all be negative.
te man ci suma boppa maa leen a seet te suñ paree ñoom ñëpp dinaa gis ne amatuñ doomi jàngoro bi.
In your statement, you mentioned that after that meeting, he now started the the presidential alternative treatment.
Ci sa kàddu buñ binda wa nga ne gannaaw loolu ci la door di faj ñooñu ci faj bi mu doon di defal nit ñi.
Wow.
That's right.
Dëgg la.
Can you tell this commission if you were present during the said treatments?
Ndax mun nga wax commission bi da nga teewoon bi mu dooree di faj ñooñu ak ni mu demee.
Throughout the period that he treated this 9,
jamono ji yëpp bi nga xam ne mu ngi faj juróom-ñeent yi.
I was present.
maa ngi fa woon.
Because he insisted that I must observe what he was doing.
ndaxte moom dafa doon wax ne man foog ma taxaw ma gis li nga xam ne moom laa def.
He wouldn't tell me what he was doing,
du ma wax
but I
lan laa
must
def
observe.
waaye mu ne naa taxaw seetaan.
He wouldn't tell me what kind of medicines he was giving them.
du ma wax ban façon ngi garab la leen a jox.
He wouldn't tell me what ayats of the Quran he was reciting.
du ma wax it ban aaya la doon wax ci alxuraan bi.
He wouldn't tell me what he was rubbing on them.
te du ma wax tamit li nga xam ne moom la leen doon riib ci seen yaram yi.
Because he said, if he gives me his secret, I will sell it.
ndaxte moom ci moom li mu wax mooy ne su ma waxee sekkareem dama koy jaay.
He said he wouldn't tell me what he was doing.
mu ne ma duma la
could
wax
observe.
li maa def waaye taxawal rek nga seetaan.
Dr. Njie, but you observed the sessions?
waaye fekkee nga ni moo defee faj boobu.
waaw fekkee naa ko.
And you saw how the treatment was being administered?
Gis nga ni moo defee faj mi comme ni mu ko defee ci gaa yi.
Can you explain to this commission how the treatment was administered?
Mun nga wax commission bi naka la doon di def pour ni moo fajee gaa yi naka la doon di def.
Well, there are various forms.
waa anam yu ci bari la ko doon defee.
The treatment was not the same every day.
bor bu set ni moo fajee ak ni mu fajee woon démb daf dee ute.
I remember day one.
fàttaliku naa bés bu njëkk bi.
First patient.
ki nga xam ne moom lay njëkk a faj.
He got him on a table.
daf ko teg ci kaw taabul.
And he went round him.
mu dal di ko wër.
Holding his Quran.
dal di téye alxuraanam di ko wëndaal di ko wëndaal.
And reciting some things that I don't know.
muy doon am yu moo tari yoo xam ne daal man sax xawma ko.
Was he reciting verses from the Quran?
daf doon di wax ay aaya boo xam ne ci Quran bi la jógee.
I wasn't sure because it was not clear enough for people to know what he was saying.
wóorul ma de ndax kàddu yu mu doon génnee leerutoon pour nit ñi xam lan
But when I
la
asked him,
waaye nag laaj naa ko te ba ma ko laajee.
he said that's his secret.
mu ne ma loolu di secret la.
You may
He would
continue.
do that, then he will apply some ointment over them.
dina ko def del di jël yenn diw yoo xam ne moom la leen a riib.
He will give them some potions to drink.
dina am lum leen a jox ñu naan.
He would give them what traditionally we call safara.
dina am lum leen a jox loo xam ne saafara la.
Can you tell us where this treatment was taking place?
mun nga ñëw wax fan la doon di def faj mi.
At the State House.
State House la ko doon defee.
In the glass house.
ci benn néegi weer.
How many days did this treatment procedure go on for?
ñaata fan la fajam bi jël.
We started on that Monday evening and afternoon.
bési lundi boobu ca bëccëg lañ ko door.
And Saturday we tested them.
mu dem ba samedi nag ci lañ leen test pour seet leen.
Doctor, we have received evidence here that in his declaration he had said he could cure HIV/AIDS in 3 days. Is that correct?
Doctor, ci kàddoom yi mu wax moom mu ne mun naa faj AIDS ba mu wér ci ñetti fan.
That's what he announced.
moom day loolu la yéebaane.
The first 9 patients that you witnessed, were they cured in 3 days?
juróom-ñeneenti nit ñi nga gis mu jox leen garab ndax ñooñu wéroon nañ.
ci diiri ñetti fan.
ci diiri ñetti fan.
No, these 9 were not treated for 3 days.
déedéet juróom-ñeneenti ñii.
The treatment started on Monday, and it went on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's 5 days.
lundi la leen commencé di faj lundi talaata àllarba alxamis àjjuma loolu juróomi fan la.
Then on the Saturday morning
te juróom-benneeli fan ba samedi ci suba.
was when he said to me, you can now test them.
ci la ma ne waa léegi nag seet leen.
Thank you, doctor. Before we get to the testing,
balaa ñu egga ci seetlu bi.
you're therefore confirming to this commission that the first 9 drank the concoction for 5 days and not 3 days.
fu mu nekk yaa ngi wax commission bi ne juróom-ñeneenti nit ñooñu jëkkee naan nañ garabam bi pour juróomi fan waaye amul ci ñetti fan yi mu wax.
Correct?
Further, that they were also, they went through the rubbing of the balm on their bodies for 5 days and not 3 days as declared.
te continué na di riib garabam bi ci yarami ñii nii ba juróomi fan waaye amutoon ci ñetti fan.
Yes.
waaw.
And is it also correct that this procedure was done in the morning and in the evening of each day in these 5 days?
ci juróomi fan yooyu su leen joxee garab wala riib leen ci suba ak ngoon ndax noonu la continué ci juróomi fan yooyu yëpp.
No, there was never a morning session. All the sessions started after 4 o'clock and continued till maybe 3, 4 in the morning.
déedéet de musta commencé faj bi ci jamonoy suba waxtu mu ko commencé dafa fekk ñeenti waxtu tegana te dina continuer ba ay ñetti waxtu sax ci suba.
Which was why it was very difficult for me because I had to be there and also be at the hospital.
lolo tax nak man mbiri jafe wona man lol ndaxte dina fa teew te dina dem ci lopitaan bi.
So to better understand, can you explain to the commission the first batch of 9 patients? How was the treatment administered on them?
Mën nga ñoo wax juróom ñeneenti nit ñi nga xam ne ñooñu la dooree fajam bi naka la demee ak ñooñu.
I think they have just explained that.
To make it clear,
he will give them some things to drink. He will apply some things on them. And he fed them very well. Because he didn't want any one of them to... In fact, he said he was going to be responsible for their feeding. And he gave them the best of food. They were nutritionally... They were given the best of food.
The witnesses who have testified, some of the patients did actually mention that they were fed. Further, we receive evidence that they drank the concoction twice every day. Is that correct?
Yes, because sometimes he will give them bottles to take home.
Wow,
drink in the morning before coming to the treatment center.
We have further received evidence that they were not permitted to go to their homes and that they were admitted at the Kanifing hospital. Is that correct?
Yes. On day one, he gave the ground rules. He explained to all of us who were there, the patients, the cabinet ministers that were there, security men that were there, the ambassador that was there. He made it clear to all of us that, number one, they have to obey his rules to go on the treatment. If anybody didn't accept the rules, that person was free to leave. He said that. He explained to all of them, no chewing of cola nuts, no chewing of bitter cola, no alcohol, no drinking of alcohol. And he talked about the food that they should eat, and that was when he said, look, to make sure that you eat properly, you sleep well, he was also going to accommodate them.
Doctor, before the patients were admitted into the program, were they tested? Doctor, any medical officer that was present at that meeting?
Ndax ñi dañ leen seetlu woon ndax amoon na kenn ci docteur yi nga xam ne ñu ngi foofu.
There was no doctor there.
Ben doctor nekku fa woon.
There was nobody to show that they had been tested or not, except for the UNV lady I mentioned.
Amut kenn ku fa nekkoon pour wane ne seet nañ leen.
I can't remember the surname.
Hana Rose mi doon liggéey foofu ci UN.
She was working with them in one of the people living with HIV groups, social groups.
Mo doon liggéey ak ñoom ci ñenn mbooloo yi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo amee doomi jàngoro HIV bi.
And what the president said to me was, these are people
the president bi li ma wax mooy ne nit ñi ñooy
that are on your program.
ñoo xam ne ñu ngi ci sa programme bi.
That is the national HIV program.
Mooy li nga xam ne mooy programme HIV bi.
And your people have tested them, they are all positive.
Te sa nit ñi seet nañ leen te ñoom ñëpp gis nañ ne ñu ngi amee doomi jàngoro bi.
And they are all receiving treatment.
Te ñoom ñëpp ñu ngi fii di faju.
At that point, did he inform you what type of treatment they were receiving?
Ndax waxtu boobu wax na la de ban façon faj la moo defal gaa yi.
Sorry, not what sort of treatment Yaya Jammeh was going to administer on them.
Okay.
It is what treatment they were receiving prior.
Okay, bala gaa yi di door fajam bi moom ban façon faj la gaa yi doon di am.
Yes, he told me that they were receiving ARVs from the National AIDS program.
Wax na ma ne ñu ngi doon naan li ñoo wax ARV
He said to me the issue of whether they are HIV positive or not, it cannot be raised because you doctors, you are the people who said they are HIV positive.
Loolu pour laajte ndax am nañ HIV wala amuñ ko loolu jarta wax parce que yéen docteur yi seen bopp yéen a wax ne ñii amee nañ doomi jàngoro HIV.
Is it also correct that it was one of his ground rules that they should stop taking their ARVs?
Leena la ci sartam yi mu wax ndax gaa yi dañu war a bàyyi di naan garabi tubaab bi.
Yes.
Wow.
He said also,
wax na itamit ne
take his medication.
nañ jël garabam yi.
They had to stop all other medications.
su ñoo jël garabam mi bépp garab buñ doon jël dañ ko war a bàyyi.
And that he said what he was going to do, he was going to do publicly.
Te wax na ne
to televise it so that the whole world will know that he has nothing to hide.
te wax na leen it ne lépp lu moo def daf ko wane ci télévision bi nga xam ne àddina bi yépp dinañ xam ne amul dara lu moo nëbba.
Anybody who didn't want that should leave.
Yépp ko xam ne bëgguloo loolu
na dem.
na dem.
Doctor, the evidence we have received before this commission is that the patients did not have a choice or option to leave.
Li seede yi ñu am fii mooy ñi moo faj noonu kenn amut ci yoon boo xam ne di nga bàyyi wala lii laa bëgga loolu amu ci.
And that even if they were given that option, they had the fear of leaving and not obeying an order that the said president then had made.
Su fekkee ne sax am nañ yoon pour bàyyi waay dafa dañ ragal pour bàyyi fajam bi moom ndig moom président bi isi na leen ba pare pour door fajam bi dañ ragal pour bàyyi fajam bi.
That's their opinion.
waa xëj na loolu seen xalaat la.
But
waaye
in the ground rules,
li nga xam ne mooy sarfa yim tëral.
this was what the president said.
président bi lii la ci wax.
Further, the patients have testified that they were not initially informed that the whole procedure would be televised for the public to see.
Ak tamit président bi waxul leen ci njëlbeen bi ne li moo def noonu yëpp daf ko def ci kanami télé bi pour ñu génne ko ci télé bi waxul leen loolu.
Further, and that it was even a shock for them because they were not known by some of their relatives or even some of them their husbands or wives that they are people living with HIV/AIDS.
wax nañ tamit ne li tax ñeena ñi dañ ci am tiitange bu mag parce que seen mbokk yi ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi sëy seen jabar yi wala seen jëkkër yi xamuñ woon sax ne ñii ñu am feebar bi la mooy HIV/AIDS.
I don't know anything about that.
waaw boobu moom xaw ma ci dara moom.
I found them there. How they were recruited, I don't know.
foofu laa leen fekk de.
So what they were told, I don't know.
ni leen
But
dugalee
I
ci
can tell
programme bi
you
xaw
for
ma ko de
certain,
waaye mun naa laa wax ne.
while they were introduced to me as the 9 patients,
biñ maa wanale ak ñoom ne ñooy juróom-ñeneen ñi nga xam ne dañ feebar.
I was worried about one of them
am na ci kenn ku ma ci jaaxaloon.
because he was a child.
because nit te kooku xaleel la woon.
And 2 others
am na
who were
ñeneen
very
ñaar
sickly.
yoo xam ne dañ feebar torop.
So I asked the president,
ci laa wax président mi ne.
I said, I hope you realize that this is a child.
mbaa xam nga ne kii xaleel la de.
And there are laws governing how you deal with children.
te am na luwaa yoo xam ne wane na ni nga war a jëflante ak gune.
The mother of the child got up and said, this is my child.
yaay xale bi jóg ne ma kii suma doom la.
we are both HIV positive.
ñun ñëpp dañ am doomi
We
jàngoro.
all want to get well.
te ñun ñëpp dañ bëgg a wér.
That's why we are here.
moo tax ñu nekk fi.
And in our rules of practice,
te ñun ci luwaa ñi ñoo doxalee wàlli faj.
you need the consent of parents when you have to deal with minors.
soo waree jëflante ak gune gu ndaw foog ni ndeyam nangu ko.
Where
foofu.
the parents are not available,
bu fa kilifaam yi nekkul way juram yi.
you the medical officer can use your own discretion as to what to do.
yow mi nga xam ne yaa ko faj yow yaay xalaatal sa bopp nag lan nga war a def.
But in this situation, the mother of the child was there.
waaye nag ci jamono jooju yaay xale bi mu ngi fa.
So I assume she knew what she was doing.
te ma jàpp rek ne bon xam na li moo def.
The other two who were very sick,
ñeneen ñi nga xam ne feebaroon nañ torop.
it was my honest opinion that they should be taken to the hospital.
man de wax naa kone na leen yóbbu lopitaan.
Later on, one of them,
gannaaw gi kenn ci ñoom.
there was a day that one of them was so bad
kenn ki moom feebaroon na torop.
that it's difficult to say this, but Yaya Jammeh and I had a fight.
neexut a wax nag waaye man maa Yaya Jammeh sax jotee nañ ci.
I told him that if anything goes wrong, if that woman dies,
wax naa ko ne jigéen ji bu ko dara jotee bu deeyee.
I was going to hold him responsible.
dinaa wax ne moom moo ko waral.
Doctor, after you raise these concerns, were those individuals taken to the hospital?
Doctor, bi nga ko waxee kaddu yi nga wax noonu ndax ñooñu dañ leen yóbbu lopitaan.
No, he gave them his medication.
déedéet garabam yi moom la leen jox.
And one of them, 15 minutes after that, was dancing all over the place.
te kenn ci ñoom mutut fukki minute ak juróom rek moom mu ngi fecc fu nekk.
She was all right.
ne wane ne moom moom wér na.
I was not bothered about all those little things. At that time, my mind was focused on one thing. Let's get to the end, and I test them and know where they are.
man faalewu ma woon sax suma xel nekkutoon ci yeneen yi man daal fi suma xel jublu woon rek mooy nañ leen seet xam fan lañ toll.
Doctor, as a medical practitioner, did you believe that that person had been cured, even though she had gotten up and was jumping around?
Doctor, yow fajkat nga. bi kooku jógee di fecca ndax waxtu boobu gëmoon nga ne kii wér na ki doon di fecca noonu.
No.
déedéet.
And my opinion as far as this is concerned, I've already made known to the commission. I didn't believe in it, and I told him. And he also told people that I don't believe in what he was saying.
waaw te
There's no doubt about.
wax naa ko ne ko óoluwuma ko te moom ci boppam sax mu ngi doon wax nit ñi ne man óoluwuma fajam bi.
Did you at any time take part in the administration of the treatment on the patients?
ndax am na waxtu boo xam ne yow sa boppa bokkoon nga ci faj bi mu doon di faj gaay ndax dugal nga ci sa loxo.
di leen jox garab.
di leen jox garab.
No, I never did.
musuma koo def.
Is it also correct that the balm was rubbed all over their body, all their parts?
ndax garab gi mu doon di riib ci garab yarami gaay ndax lii dëggal la ne daf ko riib ci seen yaram bi yëpp fu nekk ci seen yaram.
No, it was not a total body rub.
déedéet nekkutoon seen yaram bi yëpp de.
Can you tell the commission how it was done?
mun nga wax commission bi moom naka la ko doon di
Applied on their faces, and on the women he'll cover the breast with a towel, and then he will rub the breast and the belly. But I never saw the feet involved.
waaw dina leen riib seen yaram yi bu dee jigéen ñi la dafa am sarbet bu moo teg ci seen kaw ween yi dal di riib seen ween yi ba ci seen biir ba ci suuf.
Doctor, we have received evidence before this commission.
Doctor, am na ñi fi ñëw joxe seen seede fii ne.
And some of it was by video evidence.
ak ñeneen ñi sax dañ ko vidéo wane nañ vidéo bi.
Which was shown to the commissioners.
li nga xam ne wan nañ ko commissioner yi fii ñu gis.
And it was evident that the women were not allowed to cover their breast.
te li feeñ na ci ne jigéen yi joxuñ leen yoon pour ñu muur seen ween yi.
And it was shown on public television.
te noonu lañ ko génnee ci télévision bi tamit.
And the president himself was wearing gloves and administering the balm over their bodies.
The president bi mom ci bopam dafa am ay glove yim sol ci loxom yi be pare ci la mo jël garab bi rip ko ci sen yaram bi.
Do you have anything to say about that?
Ndax bobu am nga lo wax ci lolu?
I want to know if this evidence is referring to the initial 9 or when he had his presidential treatment program.
Dama bëgg xam ndax façon yu faj bi juroom ñeneen yu ñëk yi nga wax wala gannaaw bu mu continuer fajam bi.
It is referring to from when he started his treatment.
Ñu ngi wa bim doore faj mi.
It didn't happen with the initial 9.
Juroom ñeneen yu ñëk yi nak mom ameewut nonu ci ñoom.
We may continue. You've now told us that you were there with them for 5 days. And that on the 7th day, you were asked to retest the patients. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow. Can you tell this commission the results you obtained?
Results linga ci gis lan la won?
They all tested HIV positive.
Ñoom ñepp dañ woné né ñu ngi amé doomi jangoro HIV bi.
Which indicates that the cure failed.
Li woné né mom fajam bi doxuton baxuton.
Obviously, because if he said he would treat them and they would change from negative to positive, and after 5 days of treatment they were still HIV positive, obviously.
Su waxé né mom dina len faj jamono jo xamné sét nañ len né ñu ngi amé doomi jangoro té mom wax na ni gannaaw juroomi fan dinañ gis né doomi jangoro gi nekkaatu ci seen yaram té gis nañ né mu fa ba légui bon melna ni faj gi dal mom amut.
Can you tell this commission how Yaya Jammeh reacted to the said results?
Mun nga ñoo wax Yaya Jammeh bim ngeen ko bim xamé né ñi bété ñu ngi amé doomi jangoro bi mom naka la ko jëlé?
He reassured the patients.
Dafa xamal ñi doon faju ne.
He told them that the medicines that he used,
daf leen xamal ne garab yim doon jëfoo pour faj leen.
better ones.
Ne?
He had better medicines.
Am na garab yu ko gëna baax.
And he was going to use those ones.
Te yooyu la bëgg di ñëw di jëfoo na.
They should not worry. He will sort them out.
Bon nag buñ faale na leen toppatoo.
Then he invited me into the glass house.
Ci la ma dal di ma dem dugga ci biir néegi weer boobu.
So we went inside and
bañ fa duggee.
I explained to him
ma xamal ko
the signs of HIV.
Li nga xam ne moo di mbiri HIV.
What the national practice was.
Waaye nag li nga xam ne noonu lañ ko war a defee ci réew mi mooy.
No. Missed that. What the national practice was.
Li nga xam ne loolu la war a demee mooy.
Li nga xam ne noonu lañ ko war a defee ci réew mi.
No. I explained to him what the national program was doing.
Xamal naa ko programme bi ni mu doon doxee ci biir réew mi.
Okay. How HIV was being managed.
Naka lañ doon saytoo mbiri doomi jàngoro HIV.
The holistic approach.
Ni nga xam ne yoon yooyu lañ doon jël.
HIV.
Ci wàlli HIV.
I explained the science, the virology, the immunology.
Li nga xam ne yëpp moom la ëmba ci wàlli xam-xami xarala.
I explained to him that in as much as that was what we were doing,
ma xamal ko ne comme que ñun loolu lañ doon def.
We were unable to cure it.
Mënuñ ko woon a wéral.
But we could control it.
Waaye nag mun nañ koo topp ba nga xam ne dinañ mun a emale doomi jàngoro.
Thereby allowing a person to live with HIV.
Nga xam ne dina tax ba nit ki moom dina mun a dunda ak doomi jàngoro HIV.
But we had no cure.
Waaye nag amuñ lu ko wéral.
And that was why I did not believe
loolu moo tax gëmuma ne.
that he had a cure.
Ne moom mun naa wéral HIV.
So I said to him, another thing that you need to understand.
Ci laa ko wax ne am na leneen loo xam ne tam moom nga war a bàyyi xel.
is the fact that once you are exposed to the HIV virus, your body will produce antibodies. And when we test you, we look for those antibodies. That is what tells us that you have been exposed and the type of exposure that you've had. Whether it was HIV-1, HIV-2, or both. So I explained to him that, look, this is a simple matter. Once this happens, you have to live with it until you are dead. You can't change it. What we do is we give antiretroviral drugs with the aim of reducing the viral load thereby allowing the CD4 counts, the helper T cells, the fighting mechanisms of the body. Build up. And by so doing, basically, the person can live a normal life without the disastrous effects of not taking ARVs.
Doctor, you're therefore telling this commission that before you had this conversation with Yaya Jammeh, he didn't really understand the sciences that surrounded HIV.
Doctor, mungi melni balanga ko wakadu yinga wahni Yaya Jammeh dafa melon ni xamuton xam-xam bu xóot ci mbiri HIV/AIDS.
Well, for anybody who knows what HIV is all about, who had listened to what he said, will read that this man doesn't understand the science.
So it is correct that you're telling this commission, before he even made a declaration that he could cure the disease, HIV and AIDS, he did not know anything about the sciences that surrounded the disease.
Bala mo gene kado mbina mom munna faj HIV/AIDS mungi melni mom amutom xam-xam bu hod ci mbiri HIV/AIDS nimmel moy ban façon febar la.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that if he treats an HIV-positive patient, that patient will be cured and will be HIV negative.
Nikoton du don wax ne mom bu faje ke amé doomi jangoro HIV borom dina wér té du amati doomi jangoro bi.
That's not possible.
So it is therefore, sorry, Madam Interpreter, continue.
It's okay, I'm done.
It is therefore correct to say that he misled the population, the nation, and the international arena that he found a cure for HIV and AIDS.
Mungi melni reral na nit ñi doore ko rew mi nit ñi ak ni nga xamne ñu ngi nek bitim rew pour wax ne mom mu ngi amé faj li nga xamne dina wëral HIV/AIDS.
That's a tall order. The blind leading the blind.
Mu ngi melni gumbo jité ay gumbo.
Maybe you lawyers will call that misleading.
Could
we say it was a misrepresentation?
Well, that sounds more reasonable to me.
Could we even say it was fraudulent?
Fraudulent.
Well, we could even say it was an abuse of power.
No, now you're taking me to a legal dimension that I don't want to be taken there.
But the bottom line is he declared that he had a cure which was untrue.
Why fanyo mujé rek moy wax na né mom amna li wéral febar bi li nga xamné nekuton dega.
Yes, we have demonstrated that already. Because when we tested them, they were still positive. We showed that what he said didn't happen. And he acknowledged it.
If you may hold on there. Obi Van, with permission, Mr. Chair, sorry, if I may permit the Obi Van to play the video showing when he received the report of the victims, patients still suffering and having the HIV.
Fu mu nekk nii council bi mu ngi wax Obi Van ne pour mu wane vidéo boo xam ne mooy wane bim amee xibaar yi ñi nga xam ne ñooñu la fajoon ba tey ñu ngi wane ne ba tey ñi wéru ñu ngi amee feebar bi.
I want you to work together, the two of you, to select either the 5 would come from your end, and she brings 5, or all the 10 can come from her group. The two of you decide. No, they cannot all come. They cannot. She's saying that they should come from her side. Unfortunately, after the mercy was given, we didn't have a chance to meet to find out what happened afterwards. But I was given some report. But what I have now is more effective. It's much stronger than what was given in 2004.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I just wanted to, with HIV/AIDS, it is so sensitive, and a lot of people are still in hiding. So if, like some people show interest that they want to have this treatment, but they don't want to go to the ward, can it be done somewhere else? No.
It is strictly public. I made it very clear from the outset. What we can do, it can be recorded and kept. In fact, it has to be public. It doesn't mean that I have to go to the square. Okay? I mean, when we are treating them, the team that will be with me, and of course, it will be under the camera. What we can do is, after the 3 days, they have to go back to the hospital for testing. So if they think that if they take the medicine, they don't want to go and test, then forget it. I think you have more than 10 people that have volunteered, they were on TV. So let's start with those, the known ones. And I think once they have been taken care of, I think that more people would want to come forward. But as I said, I will not treat anyone who has not been diagnosed by a medical practitioner or a facility to be HIV positive or to be asthmatic. The reason being sometimes, now everybody has the tendency, if you ask just congestion, to say, I'm asthmatic, give me the medicine. This is the problem I was bugged with. Even if when I go to Canada, people come, I'm asthma. Where's the medical paper? They're more on lockdown. I don't want to speculate in treatment because the medicine is very strong. And if I don't want to give you medicine for the wrong reason, I want to make sure that whoever I give the medicine to is either asthmatic or HIV. The other one is general. Yes. How are my friends?
We're all fine. One wants to come and see the young man.
He can walk?
Yes, he can walk.
Did you discharge anybody?
No, I did not discharge anybody.
Well, if you are satisfied now that anyone can go home, except those who are really very weak, they need to be nourished. The reason why I don't want them to go home is not because I'm not sure of my medicine, but I'm not sure of the conditions at home, whether they be properly taken care of, because most of them are really very weak. They are barely skeletons. How's my old man?
The old man is the happiest amongst the lot. He's the happiest.
The driver is gone.
I did not check the driver this morning, but he was there yesterday. So I'm not sure whether they discharged him this morning. He also says, in fact, yesterday what he said was, if he is discharged, he's coming straight here. I told him I don't have the authority.
Yes. So the floor is open, guys. That's what I have to say. I really want us to work together as a team, and where possible, we can produce it en masse. You have your medical research facilities that for the one that of asthma, we can see how we can produce it en masse.
Sorry, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, for that happened during the viewing of the video. The important part that I actually wanted the Commission to see and the witness was the part where Yaya Jammeh indicated that he knows that the treatment did not cure the patients and was going to actually give them a stronger dose of the said herbal medication that he had. So if that can be noted by the Commission, and we would tender in the video with the permission of the Commission, and I will give the exhibit number later on. Thank you. So Dr. Njie, if we may continue on that line, you are confirming that he did indicate that he accepts that his cure did not work, and due to that he was going to give a stronger dose of the medication that he had. Is that correct?
Ngi melni council bi jégaluna ci mbolo mi fi nek ci commission bi ne mom lim bëggona woné moy fi ya Jammeh waxé né garabam bi comme ka mënuta faj ñi way nak mu ngi am garab bu gëna am doole bi opa bi mu jox gaay so dina len jox garab bobu fu mu nek ni lolu waxon nako ndax lolu mu ngi laaj sédé bi ndax lolu nonu la démé ci ndaje bobu.
Well, we all saw it. We all heard him.
Waaw ñun ñëpp gis nañ ko ñun ñëpp dégg nañ ko.
He said, I received a report.
Wax na ne jot naa xibaar.
That was my report.
Te xibaar googu ci man la
that they
bàyyi.
all tested positive.
Ne ñoom ñëpp seet nañ leen te ñu ngi am doomi jàngoro bi.
So he knew.
Xam na.
Dr. Njie, in the same vein, the video also shows personalities, ministers, doctors, even ambassadors sitting and listening to the misrepresentation being made by the president. Is that correct?
Docteur mu ngi melni ndaje mi am nañu fa teew ñi nga xamne ay ministre ay docteur ay borom nomba tanka ak yeneen kilifa bi mo wax yi nga xamne dal wax yu nga xamne dal amuñ solo bi mo wax yoyu ndax lolu nonu la démé.
We all saw it. On the video. The whole commission, everybody who's here saw that video and heard what he said. He was the only one talking and asking questions. But I want to correct an impression. The tail bit of that video, he was asking me about some people. These were not people in the treatment program. They were people related to him who were admitted in the hospital. So they had nothing to do with this treatment of HIV that he was doing. And the problem was the old man said Yaya was his, that he was Yaya's uncle. And had refused to pay his hospital bills. So when I was informed, I told him that I was going to have him arrested if he doesn't pay. And then he told me that he was Yaya's uncle. I said, that's not what brought you to here. So he got this message to Yaya. Yaya paid the bills. And then told me that, look, this is my uncle.
Ci la ma ne ma kii suma nijaay la.
Try and be friends with him.
Fexeel na nga xaritoo ak moom.
That had nothing, it appeared, but it had nothing to do.
Soo seetloo video bi daf ko nuru nag waaye amul dara loo xam ne am na ko ak fajam bi.
Doctor, thank you very much for clarifying that issue.
Doctor, jërëjëf li nga setal mbir moomu.
And making it clear that the happy uncle was not actually someone who received the cure that Yaya Jammeh had.
No, he was happy that he didn't go to the police.
Wa joju kontaan nonu te nek nijaay Yaya koku bokutom ci fajam bi.
Waaw bo déggee mu ne kontaan na dafa kontaan dik dama waxoon ne dañ ko arrest te faruñ ko arrest nag dik fayal nañ ko ko.
Doctor, yesterday we had a very interesting session with Dr. Sala on ethics of the profession.
Doctor, amon nañ programme ak waxtaan bu am solo ak Dr. Sala ci liggéey bi mbiri liggéey bi ni mo wara démé.
And he made it clear that for anyone to practice medicine, you must be registered. Is that correct?
Te setal na ne képp koo xam ne da nga bëgg a def liggéeyi faj foog nga register wala mooy ñu bindala.
Anybody who wants to practice modern medicine, as we were trained,
ñun de ci liñ ñu jàngal koo xam ne bëgg nga def wàlli faj.
Must be registered with the council.
Dañ nga war a bindu ci council bi.
That does not include traditional medical.
Nekkul ci wàlli faju aada cosaan.
Those just go to the radio and announce that they can cure cataract, they can do this.
Wala ñi toog ci rajo bi rek naan mun nañoo faj cataract mun nañoo def lii mun nañoo def léeg-léeg.
Those people don't require to be registered in a council. We have no council that works with them.
Ñooñu jarut ñuy bindu ci council ndaxte amuñ benn council boo xam ne mu ngi liggéey ak ñoom.
Doctor, thank you very much.
Doctor jërëjëf.
So we presume Yaya Jammeh fell in that category.
Ngi mel ni Yaya Jammeh ci ñooñu la bokk ci groupe boobu la bokk.
Yes, he was a traditional medical practitioner. That's why he didn't need the regulatory requirements of the Gambia Medical and Dental Council.
Waaw moom daf doon faj ci wàlli cosaan fajub nit ku ñuul loolu moo tax ba soxlawut woon mu bindu ci council bi nga xam ne ñoo amee mbiri fajkat yi.
But looking at the issue at hand, we're talking about HIV/AIDS.
Waaye société mbir mi ñu ngi wax mbiri HIV/AIDS.
This is a disease that when it was first announced,
Li feebar la boo xam ne biñ waxee mbiram njëlbeen yoon.
People thought it was a death trap.
Nit ñi dañ foogoon ne lii kay kum jàppa sa waxtu jeex na dangaa dee.
And that once you have it, you will die.
Te képp koo xam ne feebar bi am nga ko dangaa dee.
There was not even the sense of a cure or a treatment.
Waxtu boobu kenn nekkul di xalaat pour mbiri faj ba mu wér wala niñ ko fajee.
And Yaya Jammeh took this as a joke.
Te Yaya dafa jëloon loolu comme ni kaf.
And started using herbs.
Ci la door di faje ak ay xob ak yeneen yim amee noonu.
And traditional methods to actually cure it.
Te wane na ne ci yooni aada bi mun na wéral feebar bi.
As a medical practitioner, how did this make you feel?
Yow ki nga xam ne yow mi nga xam ne fajkan nga naka nga jëlee mbir moomu waxtu boobu.
I made my feelings known to him.
Man nag ni ma ko gisee woon fexe naa ba mu xam ko.
And he was the one who was important. And when he told me he could do it, I told him he couldn't.
Moom laa doon waxal te moom moo ci amoon solo ba ma waxee ne mun na ko dama ko ne munuloo ko.
We had an interview that was aired.
Am nañ interview boo xam ne wane nañ ko ci télé bi.
On GRTS.
Ci GRTS.
So anybody who saw that program must have heard what I said.
Képp ku gis programme boobu di nga déggal man li ma ko wax.
And in as much as I didn't believe him,
déggal la nag comme que man gëmuma ko woon.
I recognized that our system recognizes traditional medicine.
Hamna ne ñun suñu aad suñu réew mi ni mo doxé ragné ne ñi nga xamné ñoo di faju nit ko ñuul.
There is even a department of traditional medicine in the Ministry of Health of the Gambia.
Amna bunta bo xamné sax ñom ñoo saytu ñi nga xamné ñoo dé fajum nit ko ñuul fi ci biir réew mi.
And I'm fully aware that WHO does recognize traditional medicine.
But it
is correct that nobody recognized this cure that Yaya Jammeh had.
Yaya Jammeh amna faj linga xamne dina wëral di febar bi ni,
including WHO.
Boole ci WHO moy mbotay adina bo xamne ñoo saytu wërgu yaram.
I personally made my feelings known publicly.
Man ci suma boppa de ni ma ko gisee won wax naa ko te ñepp gis nañ ko.
And I remember making a statement on this issue.
Fatale ko naane amna ay kaddu yu ma gaaraloon ci mbir moomu noonu.
I said it's up to the people to decide what they want.
Waxoon naa nag ne des na ci nit ñi ñoom ñu seet lan lañ bëgga.
We had been offering them antiretroviral drugs and they were doing well.
Ñu ngi leen doon jox garab biñ doon naan ñu di ko wax antiretroviral te mu ngi leen doon dimbale.
And if someone gets up one day and say he can do otherwise, if they want to do that, it's their business.
Su kenn jógee benn bés rek moom ne leneen laa def buñ ko gomee des na ci ñoom.
It's up to the people.
Des na ci nit ñi.
Not to me.
Waaye du man de.
That's my personal opinion.
Man noonu laa ko gisee woon.
But anybody who came and asked me questions as to whether it should be done, I would advise you. But nobody did.
Képp ku ñëw pour laaj ma ndax war na koo def dinaa la digal de waaye kenn defu ko.
Dr. Njie, you later moved on to be minister.
Right.
Dr. Njie gannaaw loolu dem nga kanam ba ñu def la ministre.
Right.
Was the program still going on during your time as minister?
Programme bi mu ngi doon di dox ci sa waxtu bi nga nekkee ministre.
Yes.
Wow.
Can you tell us if you played any part?
Mun nga ñoo wax ndax doxal nga ci dara?
I came back from an official mission.
Dama dellu si waat gannaaw tukki boo xam ne defoon naa ko ci suma wàlli liggéey.
And was informed by the president.
Ci la ma président bi xamal ne.
He has now appointed a director of health services for me.
Léegi nag tànnal na ma ko xam ne mooy director bu health service pour man.
And he said, I have now established a presidential alternative treatment program.
Léegi nag dal dinaa taxawal programme boo xam ne ñoom ñooy saytu fajum président bi.
No, that he had established it already.
Ne moom taxawal na ko ba pare.
And that he had appointed a director general.
Te tànn na koo xam ne moo koo jiite muy director general ba.
Did he tell you the name of the director general he had appointed?
Ndax wax na la turi director general boobu mu tànn noonu.
He told me. He told me that he had appointed Dr. Tamsir Mbow.
Wax na ma ne jël na ku ñoo wax Dr. Tamsir Mbow def ko director general bi.
So you are therefore telling this commission that the program was not under the ministry?
Mu ngi mel ni yaa ngi wax commission bi ne programme bi kon nekkutoon ci ron ministry bi.
No, it was never under the ministry.
Déedéet musuta nekk ci ron liggéeykaay ministre bi. Jamono ba ma fa nekk ministre.
We had the National AIDS program, which is still running.
Amoon nañ programme boo xam ne ñoom ñooy saytu wàlli feebari AIDS bi te benn tey mu ngi dox.
By international organizations like the Global Fund for HIV and TB.
Am na mbootaay boo xam ne ñoo ko dépasse Global Fund di saytu mbiri HIV bi ak TB.
And it's still ongoing.
Te benn tey mu ngi dox.
Dr. Njie, therefore, just to go back to the fact that you have already made it clear to the commission that you did not believe and you knew that Yaya Jammeh did not have a cure for HIV/AIDS. Is that correct?
Dr. Njie mu ngi mel ni setal nga ci bunti commission bi ne Dr. Yaya Jammeh amut li nga xam ne dina faj HIV/AIDS ba mu wér te loolu mu ngi mel ni setal nga loolu wecc comme ni nga ko waxee.
And it is further clear that you had made yourself clear to him and informed him that he did not have a cure for HIV/AIDS.
Gannaaw loolu yëpp setal nga ko ne moom amut loo xam ne dina faj HIV/AIDS boobu ba mu wér amut loo xam ne dina ko mën a wéral setal nga loolu wax nga ko ko.
Besides that, he still continued
gannaaw loolu yëpp moom continué na
to misrepresent to the Gambian people and the international world.
Pour mu continuer di def loo xam ne jaaduwut pour waa réew mi ak réew nga xam ne mooy waa bitim réew.
And endangered the lives of the citizens.
Te ñi nga xam ne ñooy waa réew mi dugal na seen bakkan ci loo xam ne lu métti la.
What do you have to say about that?
Loolu loo am pour wax ci loolu.
I am the one who was brainwashed, according to him. I am the one who did not believe him, according to him. I am the one who showed him that what he was doing is not correct. He showed that in the video that you were seeing.
Man maay ki nga xam ne man la wax ne dañ jël suma xel man maay ki nga xam ne man la wax ne gëmuma woon li moo def te feeñal ne ko ci vidéo bi nga xam ne moom lañ doon seetaan nii ne gëmuma ko woon.
I rest my case. He spoke for me. He told everybody. This man doesn't believe me.
Waaw moom dafa mel ni sax moom wax na ci suma kàddu ndax wax na ñépp ne waa ji day gëmut ma.
But it is correct that the cure he claimed to have had did not exist.
Waaye mu ngi mel ni moom li mu waxu ne am na faj boo xam ne dina wéral feebar bi amutoon.
We still haven't seen it.
Ben tey day gisaguñ ko de.
Because it is known that throughout the world there is no cure that exists for HIV/AIDS.
Parce que ci biir àddina si yëpp nit ñi xam nañ ne amul lépp amul dara loo xam ne dina mën a faj HIV/AIDS ba mu wér loolu amul benn tey.
I think I said that.
Waaw loolu wax naa ko.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Mr.
Jërëjëf,
Chair,
Doctor.
I have no more questions for this witness.
Council bi amatul lu moo laaj seede bi.
Thank you very much indeed, Council, and thank you, Dr. Njie, for coming to testify before the Commission.
Chairman gërëm na council bi ba pare Dr. Njie chairman mu ne mu ngi la gërëm di la santa li nga nangu pour ñëw joxe sa seede ci kanami commission bi.
I'm at a loss on understanding one or two minor points, if you can help me.
Chairman ne am na ñaari benn yëf wala ñaar yi nga xam ne daal dafa bëgg nga gën ko leeral.
Jammeh locked you up in prison for 18 months
Jammeh
for no reason.
Jammeh tëj na la kaso diir benn at ak genn wàlla ci kaw dara.
You showed bravery in disagreeing with him till he called you a brainwashed individual.
Ba pare yow wane nga loo xam ne ku ñemeñ moo mën a def loolu ba muy la wax ne yow tubaab yi wala dañ jaxase sa xel bi yépp ci mbir mi.
And in your several encounters with him, you showed them, or you stood your ground on the principles and the science of HIV.
Te ci sa ndaje yi ak waxtaan yi nga def ak moom yépp fa nga taxawoon ci benn taxawaay boobu nga taxaw pour wan ko ne lii mbir la boo xam ne daal man li ma gëm moom laa gëm nga wan ko li nga gëm nga wax ko ko wan ko ko bem set.
You confirmed in your testimony that he was giving you money, and you mentioned one instance where monies that were given to you, you kept them as, what remained in your possession was a bit over $70,000.
wax nga ne tamit ci sa dugalante ak moom am na benn yoon boo xam ne jox na la xaalis boo xam ne ci xaalis boobu joxe nga ci waaye li des sa loxo ba nga demee compter ko dem na ba juróom-ñaari fukki junne.
He said he gave you that several times using those words.
Te wax nga ci sa ay kàddu ne emutoon ci boobu yoon yu bari daf dee génne xaalis jox la ko.
What puzzles me a little bit is these points that I mentioned: locking you up for 18 months, the bravery that you have shown, standing up to him. Why did you accept any money from him? and not once, not twice, or whatever number of times that you did that? Couldn't you say no to him? And if you can also tell us how many times you accepted money, and perhaps in the amounts that you got from him.
Lima jahal tuti moy waji tiyena la tejna la kaso at gena wala be pare bi nga gene duga sa ci sa liggey bi nga taxaw fi nga taxawon tiye sa taxaway bem deuguer wan ko linga xam be pare nga wan ko linga gom be nga wax ko bem set way gannaaw lolu yeb waji continue na di la jox xaliss te nekkutoon benn yoon nekkutoon emutoon ci ñaari yoon nga continuer di jël xaalis ci loxoom lu tax nga nangu loolu bañuloo daal pour jël xaalis ci loxoom lu waral loolu.
Yes, I must confirm that he gave me money a number of times.
Waaw dinaa wéral ne am na ay yoon yu ma jox xaalis.
And I took them.
te jël naa ko.
He even gave me a car.
Moto sax jox na ma ko.
And I took it.
te jël naa ko.
Then he offered me a second and a third car, and I refused.
Gannaaw bi bëggoon na maa jox ñaareeli moto ma bañ mu bëgg maa jox ñetteeli moto ma bañ.
Because by then I didn't know what he was trying to do.
Ndikte nag foofu tollu naa ci jamono joo xam ne xaw ma woon lan mooy jubluwaayam.
And I told him that if you are selling these cars, if I have money, I will buy.
ci laa ko wax ne ko moto yi de bu dee danga koo jaay su ma amee xaalis dinaa ko jënd.
You have already given me one, so I don't want to spoil the opportunities of other civil servants to get these cars.
jox nga ma benn moto
Those
ba
were
pare.
the AU vehicles.
jox nga ma moto ba pare te bëgguma yàqal ñeneen ñi ñoom tamit pour ñu am ci moto yooyu moto AU yi la woon.
Before they started selling the vehicles,
balaa ñoo commencé di jaay moto yooyu.
he gave me one.
jox na ma ci benn.
When they started selling the vehicles,
buñ commencé di ko jaay.
he called me up one day and said, I did not see your name in the list of senior government officers who are buying vehicles.
mu ne ma gisuma sa tur de ci ñi nga xam ne ñooy kilifa yi nga xam ne ñoom lañ bind seen tur fii.
And I told him that, well, you have given me one.
ma ne ko waaw ndax dang ma jox benn.
Let other people have a chance to have.
na ñeneen ñi tamit am.
At least I didn't pay for mine. Yeah, they're paying for theirs. Let me not spoil the chance.
man fayuma suma bos dang ma ko may ñoom dañoo fay seen bos xaaral ma bàyyi leen ñoom tamit.
And on that day, he said to me,
bés
meet
boobu
me in Kanilai tomorrow,
bés boobu ci la ma ne ma fekk ma Kanilaay ëllëg.
and I will give you a vehicle.
naa la jox moto.
And that morning,
ca suba soosu.
when they did not see me,
bañ ma gisut.
the officer in charge of his security
nga xam ne moo amee mbiri kaaraangeem bi.
called me.
ci la ma oo.
And he said to me, sir,
mu ne ma saa.
if you don't want the vehicle, just come and take it and give it to me.
soo soxlawut moto bi kaay jël ko rek nga jox ma ko man.
But I decided not to go.
waaye daal man nanguwumaa dem.
Well, I took the money because you don't look at a president,
li tax ma jël xaalis bi mooy doo jàkkaarloo ak président.
irrespective of who the president is.
ak président ba ku mun a doon.
And he gives you some money and you say you will not accept it. To me, that doesn't make sense.
mu jël xaalis may la ko nga ne ko duma ko jël man daal pour man loolu jaaduwul.
That's why I took the money.
loolu moo tax nag ma jël xaalis bi.
Do you recall the total amount of money that you took from him?
ndax mun nga fàttaleku xaalis bi ñaata la tollu yi nga xam ne jox na la ko ba nga jël ko ci loxoom.
No.
déedéet.
But I will tell you one thing.
waaye dinaa la wax leen na.
Any amount of money that he gave me in a government setting, like he visits the hospital and he pulls out $100,000 and he says, go enjoy yourself.
bépp xaalis boo xam ne jox na ma ko ci place boo xam ne bële
Which has happened a number of times.
bu liggéeyukaay la maanaam daal xëj na mu fekk ma ci lopitaan bi rek jox ma xaalis ne ma am demal nga bànneexu.
I'll call Mrs. Awa John, who was my chief accountant at the time.
dinaa dee oo Mrs. Awa John nga xam ne mooy woon accountant bi jamono boobu.
And I will hand over the money to her.
dinaa ko jox xaalis
And I will tell her, well, Echi gave us this money to enjoy
ñun la jox
ourselves.
xaalis bi pour ñu séddoo.
We cannot divide this amongst the staff of the hospital. We have 1,101 staff and we have $100,000.
duñ ko mën a séddoo ñun ñi
So
koy
I'll
liggéey.
give it to her and say, keep it. In fact, when this lady was audited, a lot of money was found with her. And she told them, this is money that Dr. Njie gave me and said I should keep for the hospital. Everybody has seen Yaya Jammeh move around this country, and everybody has seen him move with money. And everybody has seen him give money around. Even on the road, he will throw it.
Thank you very much. Would you say it's fair to you if somebody says that he's given you millions of dollars?
jërëjëf docteur ndax lii dina nekk loo xam ne lu jubla su nit waxee ne lim la jox àgg ci ay millions.
No. The car he gave me wasn't worth $1 million.
moto bi ma jox sax jarut million.
And the money he gave was always in hundreds of thousands, maybe 70,000, 20,000. 50,000. And most of the time, like if it happens in the State House, the soldiers will rush me. Rush up to me and say, come on, sir, suñwala. And I will give them. He came once to the quadrangle at 4 o'clock, closing time. Everybody was scared to go down. Everybody stayed in their offices. I stepped out to go home. My permanent secretary called me and said, sir, the president is downstairs. I said, so? He said, please stay. I said, no, I have something to do. And it's closing time, and I'm going home. So I walked down. I found him standing together with the then Director General of GRTS. He's now late. And Honorable Nancy Njie was the tourism minister. And I walked straight to him. And I said to him, I heard that you are here to give people money. And it's time for me to go home. Give me my share before the rest come down. So he turned around and he told this man, look, this guy is going to create trouble for me. Give him some money and then let's disappear. And as soon as I moved, my telephone rang. And my peer said to me, I'm watching you. So my share, you must give me my share. When I got to the gate, the security men who were there, they all asked for their share. And I just picked some of it and threw it at them and said, well, go ahead. I kept $10,000 for my PS. When I was driving along Independence Drive, somebody stopped me at the hospital and told me that you were the only one who walked down to go and meet Yaya Jammeh and he gave you some money. So can I have my share? I gave him 5,000. I gave my driver, I gave my oddly. And that was it. If the president gives you, you take. That was it.
He gives you taxpayers' money or money that is obtained in the name of the taxpayers?
Well, I wouldn't know where he got the money from. The money came from his briefcase. So,
thank you very much, Dr. Njie. Your bravery continues to honesty. There are very few people who would come up here in this platform and on this platform and confess that they've been taking monies from Jammeh.
Jërëjëf Dr. Njie sa ñemeñ bi continue na ba fi nga taxaw nii parce que ñu néew ñoom ñoo mën a ñëw taxaw fii wax na ne jàpp nañ xaalis ci loxo Yaya Jammeh.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate. Imam C, you have the floor, please.
Imam C, mola buga laaj, doctor.
Doctor Nagaref.
How are you?
Jamarek C.
We are very happy about what you said here. What you said is very nice. What I'm asking is, the young man or boy you found at the hospital, and he said he will pray for that boy. How did he last?
Koku dafa unfortunately 3 days later.
The boy died unfortunately 3 days later.
Condition bim amon munuñ ci dara.
The disease or the sickness that boy was suffering from.
Déglu ngeen Dr. Sala muy wax ethics of the profession.
Déglu ngeen Dr. Sala mu ngay wax. You've heard what Dr. Sala said here about the ethics.
Because of ethics yoyu.
Ci ethics yoyu ci taxawaay yoyu ci faj.
Mënuma la wax.
I cannot tell you anything about that boy.
Waaye mën na la wax ni.
But I can tell you.
3 days later.
3 days later.
Mu dee.
He died.
ñaareel bi lim la doon wax noonu dafa dañ jaxase sa xel bi.
The second thing, saying that they brainwashed you.
ñooñu ñan la doon wax ne ñoo jaxase sa xel bi.
Who were the people that he was saying who brainwashed you?
Well, tubaab yi la doon wax ne tubaab yi ñoo jaxase suñ xel yi. Ki dafa gëm ne ñun façon yi médecine biñ doon def médecine yi tubaab la.
He said that it was the white people who brainwashed us because the type of medicine we were using was conventional medicine.
So loolu tax moom dafa gëm ne ñun ñi jàng modern medicine.
This is why he believed that we who did modern medicine,
ñun tubaab yi dañ ñu brainwash.
The white man had already brainwashed us.
Dugal ñu ci seen gëm-gëm.
And we went through what they believed, and we believed that too.
Ba pare génne ñu ci yëfi traditional medicine.
And they took us away from the path of traditional medicine. Thank you.
Thank you. Imam Jallo, you have the floor, please.
Imam Jallo.
Witness?
Yes, Imam.
I'm very much puzzled by one fact.
Lena moma jaxal.
Considering all the ranks within the army.
Ñi nga xamne ñu borom maxama lañ yeb ñi nekkon ci bunti soldat bi.
How did these young lieutenants organize themselves in such a way that they could simply silence everybody and nobody shook a finger after you? All of you have been captured and put in jail.
Li melni xalé yi nga xamne ñoom ay xalé lañ tollu ci maxama lieutenant ci army bi ñooñu naka lañ boole seen boppa pexe ba jàppaleen yéen ñëpp ñu téye leen ba pare kenn sax mënut a yëngal loxo.
I'm really puzzled.
Loolu daal daf ma jaaxal.
Do you want me to, how should I put it? Well, let's get one thing clear. The army had a system. The junior officers are most of the time together. And in large numbers. The senior officers are few and busy with their responsibilities. That is why it is common. If you look at coup d'etats across the board, you find a collection of junior officers organizing it. You have the situation like for example, the Nigerian situation were very senior officers are the ones who organize coup d'etats. But that's an exception. Generally, it's the junior officers, and it's because of the time that they have together. In the Gambian army, we had a particular situation. At the time, it was a decision of our government, the government of Sadauda, to bring in a Nigerian training team. And this training team occupied all the positions of authority except one. That was the commander of the Marine unit. And, no, wrong, two. Commander of the Marine unit and commander of the presidential guards. So the senior officer, the senior corps, had nothing to do with the day-to-day running of the army. It was done by Nigerians. And not all of us were on the ground. When some of us challenged this, some of us were sent immediately to go and do training courses. Some to Nigeria, some to America, some to England. So the core of the army that was left here were under the command of the Nigerians. And that gave the young boys the opportunity to do whatever they wanted to do. The most senior amongst them were captains. But the rest were lieutenants. And this was led by lieutenants. So I hope you are no longer puzzled. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for clearing that, for Imam. If there are no further questions, Dr. Njie, if you have any closing remarks to make, please proceed to make them now.
A lot of things has happened in this country. A lot of wrong has been committed. Attempts have been made to correct some of these things. One of them is this honorable TRRC. But we have seen a previous commission come and go. We still don't know the report of that commission. It's not available to the public. We've seen things done that we don't like. People don't like it. We've seen the proceeds of Yaya Jammeh's soul. How it was done, we don't know. We just see people driving vehicles that we recognize and they tell us they got it from someone. We have seen houses that were seized from people. And today they are in a state of derelict. Nobody says anything about it. When I was detained, I had a plot of land in Sinchu Alaji. An agency of the government called AMRC. Walked in there and sold half the land against the advice of the alkali, who as I speak is still the alkali. This is a matter that I personally took up with the then managing director, Mr. Tamba. But unfortunately, he ran out of the country and died in Senegal. And now we watch what is happening. You drive along the roads, you see people doing things that are illegal. If you go to the Sting Corner, there's an area that was reserved. Those who have spent some time in government will know that was reserved and was supposed to be used to build a road. People are building in those areas. If you ask them, they tell you it was given to them by physical planning, which is all wrong. The Tanvi wetlands was established by an act of parliament. The land should not be touched. Today is being given to people. So with all these things, we wonder, where are we heading to? Do we want to reform this country? Or do we want to destroy it? I hope the Commission will help us sort all these things out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Njie, for those remarks and for coming to testify before the Commission. We really appreciate your testimony.
Dr. Njie kontaan nañ ci yow lool li nga nangu pour ñoo joxe sa seede fii ci kanami commission bi ñu ngi la ciy gërëm bu baax.
Council, do we have a witness lined up for the afternoon?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do.
Fine. Then we will take a 1-hour break.